So the Lakers will officially have the first father-son duo in NBA history after selecting Bronny James, who's obviously the son of LeBron James, with the number 55th pick in Thursday's second round of the 2024 NBA Draft. What's interesting is that, as per ESPN's Dave McMenamin, Rob Pelinka believes that the second-round pick could become an elite shot maker and a 3-and-D player, and this was the full quote. I think he's going to be a point-of-attack defender that could really be disruptive, with the way he guards other teams' point guards. I think he can guard multiple positions, and we've really seen growth in shooting. We really think he could turn into being an elite shot maker, just a 3-and-D player for sure. Now, a lot of actual kind of controversy came around this, with Rich Paul telling teams that if you draft him, he'll be playing in Australia, which is quite interesting. But it turned out that wasn't the case. The Lakers did select him with pick 55, which turned out it's kind of obvious that the Lakers are always planning on doing that. So I want to know, are you surprised that the Lakers would actually end up drafting Bronny James at 55? And how do you think Bronny James will do in his rookie year?
I'm not surprised. I several shows we've talked about this topic, and I did say that I thought the Lakers would take him. I think it's a marketing plus, a marketing coup for the Lakers. There's never been a father-son duo in NBA history. First time, maybe the last time, too. This isn't something that's going to come along very often. And look at those two guys. You got the pictures of them. I mean, they're about the same size. LeBron James is a beast, and
the
LeBron
graphic
James
makes it look that way. Bronny's like 6'1".
Oh, really?
LeBron James
I
is
didn't know
6'9".
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they look big together there. So Bronny James will be a point guard, maybe. Is that that's the thinking for him?
Yes.
He's going to try to emphasize defense. I guess the questions I think are out there for this is, what is his fit in LA? What's it going to be? I mean, is he going to play? Is he going to excel? It's hard to know, right? What part of his game most needs to improve to the next level? We really don't know. He hasn't played that much. It's a very small sample size, even in college. At USC, he didn't really get that. He wasn't the focus of the offense, or his teammates loved him, apparently, but it's inconclusive at best in determining how he'll play in the NBA. How many games will father and son play together? That's a good question. Will LeBron opt in or sign a new deal with the Lakers? I think he'll probably try to sign a new deal. It will be worth more money to him in an extra year. So I think he's going to do that. I think another question is, how will the chemistry on the team be if Bronny James doesn't turn out to be very good? Maybe they'll ship him off to the G League for a little bit, and help have him build his confidence there and then bring him back. He could be going back and forth. That's a possibility. I think the landing spot with the Lakers has a lot of anticipation, a lot of expectations, and a lot of pressure from the outside. It may not be that much pressure on the inside, that depending on how the team gels around this concept and how it works out. If Bronny James turns into being a decent player, then they'll all be fine. I don't think there'll be any issue. But I think it's a crapshoot at this point, just because he really there's not much of a sample size to know how well he might be able to do. I think he'll be patient. I think he's not going to expect them to put him right in the starting lineup. I think he'll buy into the process. And as I said, maybe he'll play some games in the G League. There's not much known about him or where he will be on the depth chart. I think it'll probably be pretty low on the depth chart, although his dad is on the team, and his dad is one of the very best players to ever play in the NBA, maybe the best. And that's going to have a factor on this. I think when they're out there on the court together and Bronny makes a mistake, you think LeBron's going to yell at him?
No.
On the court? I don't know. He might. It's hard to know how that's going to play out. It'll be interesting to see. The draw is father and son playing together for the first time in NBA history. If it develops into a greater fit, that will be remarkable. If it doesn't, it's still remarkable, right? It's never happened before. Father and son playing together. But he's always going to play under his father's shadow. That's something that's just going to be with him for his whole career, and the spotlight would have been big on him no matter where he's gone. But now it's bigger than ever because he's with the Lakers. He's going to be on the same court with his father.
Right.
It could be the most scrutinized second-round pick ever in the NBA, given who he is, who his father is, and the glamorous franchise that the LA Lakers are. You know?
Yeah.
He'll be in the summer league. That will be fun to watch to see how he does there. I think it was worth the gamble at number 55. As you said, Rich Paul told other teams, don't try to draft him. We'll send him to Australia if you try to do that. I think it's going to be fun to watch. I'll be watching. I think a lot of people will be. So it's a good draw. It's a good thing for the Lakers. How will it work out in the locker room? How will it gel on the court? How will father and son do together? All questions to be answered in the future. What's your take?
Well, I think it's very, very difficult to tell right now because we haven't seen him play a lot of basketball. He joined midseason at USC and did not perform very well. But I think coming in midseason for any sport, on any team, at really any level, is very, very difficult. But he did only average 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, 2.1 assists per game. He only played about 19 minutes in those 25 games. And his shooting-wise was not good at all. 26.7% from three and 36% from the floor. That's not really that great. However, let's add a little bit of more context to it. In the NBA Combine, he did shoot 19 of 25 from three. Maybe it was he just needs more reps, and at the NBA Combine, he got more practice in because we have to remember he did have that health scare of cardiac arrest, which actually sidelined him, and that was the reason why he did not play the rest of that season, the beginning of that season for USC. So we'll see how he sees. We'll see if he ever gets into the NBA in year one. I think that's the big thing. But I do think that he will be in the G League for 1, if not 2 years, because I think LeBron will opt out of his player option, which is about $60 million. I think he'll sign a 3-year, 161, I believe it is. Whatever the 3-year max is for LeBron James, he'll sign that. And what's kind of funny is, if Bronny James is in the G League for 1 or 2 years, and let's say it's 2 years, by that 3rd year, LeBron will be on the last year of his contract, and this is completely speculating here. LeBron James in the last year of his contract, Bronny James making his true Laker debut, and Bryce James will be able to actually be in that draft. So he could have 2 sons on the same team, all having their debuts together. Could be, probably not though. But when it comes to Bronny James, I think it's tough. It's very, very tough, and you actually said it. Until he makes a name for himself, which is very, very difficult when your father is, in my opinion, the greatest basketball player of all time, you will be living under his shadow. And it's very difficult to make your own name for yourself when that is indeed your father, who you will be eventually playing with. Whether that's game 1 and then he gets sent to the G League or whatever the case may be. It'll be very difficult to make a name for yourself when you're playing alongside, arguably, the greatest basketball player of all time. So I think based on a development part of it, he'll need a lot of work. I think the problem with the Lakers is you have a massive spotlight because you are a very historic franchise. Up until a couple weeks ago, you were tied with the Celtics for the most championships in NBA history. Now the Celtics have a one finals win lead away from you. However, you're like the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. You're always expected to make a very deep playoff run, if not make the NBA Finals, and if not win it, even when your team is not that great. I think another part that's very, very difficult for Bronny James himself is his coaching staff and his development is not going to be at the tip top of the Lakers' priorities, I think. Because I don't think JJ Redick will do a tremendous job. He'll need a very great staff in order for the Lakers to succeed, in order for Bronny James to excel at a relatively rapid level. I think Dan Hurley, who they actually strongly wanted, but I guess not strong enough to really pry him away from UConn and pry him away from Hurley trying to go back-to-back with UConn for national championship wins, for him to be the head coach of the Lakers, because I think if Dan Hurley was the coach of the Lakers, I think Bronny could have a very decent shot, maybe towards the end of the year or hell, even the very beginning, to be playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, to be suiting up in the yellow and gold and be playing during the NBA regular season. I think Dan Hurley, with the way that he's coached up UConn players, people come from the transfer portal, coming to UConn and winning basically instantly, I think that could have translated. And also UConn's offensive scheme is very similar to the NBA. Spacing, outside shooting, a couple big men playing low, interior defense, getting the rebounds. I think that would have worked out beautifully for the Lakers. But you have JJ Redick, who I will give credit. JJ Redick was a pretty decent perimeter shooter. So maybe that could help Bronny in his 26.7% three-point percentage from college. But I do think because of the spotlight and the shadow is so big, it'll be very difficult for Bronny to come out of that until maybe 5 years from now, 3, 4, 5 years from now, where maybe LeBron is about to retire. Then you kind of have to prove yourself. Otherwise, I kind of agree with you. Because of the fact that he is LeBron James' son, if he's a complete bust, it won't be like the normal late-round picks of the NBA draft where those players just fizzle out, over a couple years.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think that Bronny James will spend 2 years in the G League before he plays with his dad. I think he'll be on the court with his dad within the first 5 games of the season, because this is too big a marketing thing to let go of. And the Lakers know it, and the NBA knows it, and everybody wants it. They let him drop to number 55 so he could be drafted to play with his father. It's one of the big marquee things for this season coming up, and you're going to see it early on. And I don't think they'll be waiting. Now, if he turns out to be a bust and he plays poorly, he turns the ball over a lot, he gets beat on defense, he is a minus points every time he's out there on the court, then maybe he's shipped off to the G League for a while. But I bet he'll be back before the end of the season if that happens. And I do think he'll play early on, maybe not for more than 2 minutes a game or something like that, but he will be out there with his dad early on in the season. It's just too big a thing to let go. They're going to have to do it. The television is going to want it. They're paying big bucks for the rights to these games, and they're going to demand it, and you'll see it happen.
Well, first off, let me just clarify. Monumentous is a word.
It is.
Just looked it up. Second, the problem, and let's talk about another father-son duo that played, not in basketball, because this is the first one, but in sports, is Bronny James, Ken Griffey Jr., the NBA's version of Ken Griffey Jr., because Ken Griffey Jr. was very good.
I doubt it.
Was very good.
He was good very young, too, at 19 years old. Right. He was a great player.
Bronny James ain't that. So Ken Griffey Jr. made a name for himself because he was so good. And he also played alongside his father.
Yeah.
So I don't think Bronny James is that. So he'll need to wait a little while. He'll need a lot of growth and a lot of development in order to eventually make a name for himself. It's going to be very difficult because of the fact that you're the inaugural father-son duo to play together in the NBA. You're setting records here, and it's in a Lakers uniform with the Lakers historic franchise behind your back, with LeBron James, the greatest player in NBA history, arguably, but in my opinion, yes. That's who your father is. That's who you're playing alongside.
It's a lot of pressure for a young guy.
And you have first-time head coach.
A lot of pressure for a young kid.
And you have the expectations of JJ Redick, who was in podcasts with LeBron James, which he said he was going to stop doing, but he's prone to being open to this criticism and taking, sometimes taking it on the chin, the criticism online, being aware of that. That's your head coach who will get massive scrutiny because he hasn't coached. He's been a volunteer coach for, I think, a 4th grade team. I think that's what the picture is that's going viral, I think, early last week. He hasn't coached anything, really. This would be his first job. He goes from a volunteer coach to being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
And they're still expected to go out and win several games.
They're going to put a lot of other coaching support behind him on the bench.
You have to. You straight up have to. Otherwise, it'll just be a crap show. And Bronny James, you know what? I hope, just because it's great for business, it's great for ratings, Bronny James is a tremendous player. The realistic outlook of that, though, is he needs a lot of work. Will he be able to work effectively with that massive spotlight on his back? I think maybe.
Yeah.
I think because LeBron James is his dad, teaching lessons and stuff like that. I think that, I don't know if there'll be, a moment where LeBron pulls a J.R. Smith in the NBA Finals when he was playing with the Cavs and just gets very upset with him like that. I don't think it'll be like that. I think it'll be on the bench, arm around, giving a talk, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a complete outburst.
I think it'll be tough for him because he's going to come in and play one of the toughest positions, point guard.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be very smart. You have to be a great athlete. You got to be in sync with your teammates, right? To be an effective point guard, you got to be able to distribute the ball. You got to be able to shoot the ball. You got to be able to defend. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot for him. I think they say he's a 3 and D, right? A 3-point shooter and a defensive player.
That's what they want him to be. Yeah.
They want him to be that. So.
Also, I'll say this. The Clippers, Minnesota, Phoenix, and Toronto were the 4 teams that were seriously interested in drafting Bronny. So those were probably the teams that Rich Paul said, nope, he's going to Australia if you select him.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. But the Lakers, as well as the NBA, their ratings and Lakers ticket prices just went up a lot of money. They were already massive. Now they went up a little bit more. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.